This guy here, this handsome guy here, his name is Pedro.
Thank you.
You are a musician, a very serious musician.
Yeah.
No.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. You have quad speakers.
I
I
do.
used to have quad speakers. These are, what model is this exactly? These are not 63s.
These are 2805, but most people that are quad fanatics refer to them as 63s.
Really? Okay.
Because they're basically a modern version of the 63.
Uh-huh.
The difference is that they have steel frames and it has a bracket in the back.
Right. They're much stiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we continue the tour, over here in an adjoining room are your quad 57s.
Yes, I actually acquired those recently from someone in England, and Ken McCollum of Electrostatic Solutions just rebuilt them for me.
Uh-huh.
And they're splendid.
Yeah. Nice contrast.
Yeah.
Because they don't sound, 57s and 63s don't really sound very similar.
I try to live by your cradle. You know, I try to just say, do everything that you say, Steve.
Of course,
So,
that's good advice.
yeah, you say that that when you get tired of a particular kind of speakers, then you get another pair. So if I get tired of this, I switch to the other ones.
Yeah, new sound.
And then people live happily under this household.
That's so good. But then the speaker that now they've seen a little bit of behind you, the Scala. It is,
Yes.
It is an actual Scala? Or
It's an actual vintage La Scala. Someone in Texas, a man who's a cabinet maker, he and his son, they rebuild Klipsch speakers. They specialize on horn speakers. And it's got, you know, the latest third-party crossovers, and, you know, he painted it the color that I wanted to match the room. They do special finishes and all that. They're on eBay. I can't remember the name now, but yeah, they're easy to find if you look for Klipsch.
So the reason that it's sitting between your right channel and left channel quads is because you're into mono.
Yeah, I
So
have
you
a
do mono with one speaker. What a crazy idea.
yes, I have a very modest setup. I just have one mono cartridge and a mono amplifier from the 50s, a Harman Kardon right there at the bottom. Very unassuming, and just a Klipsch. Because I believe that we should listen to mono the way our forefathers did.
Yes,
You know,
it's so weird that people are into mono listen with stereo speakers.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Well, I think the concept is that if you listen to mono with two speakers, the center image, that's the sum of the two speakers, to me is a ghost image.
I agree.
And this is something that is very legitimate and very palpable. And if you play Caruso or some beautiful voices of the past or Harry Belafonte, you can really crank it out and it sounds like you're in a bar listening to Rocola or a Vitrola. It has that open, beautiful sound and the scale, the size of it, because I have a big speaker that's a horn-loaded speaker. I can play with tubes and make a big sound.
You're onto something there.
If you
I
listen
think you're
to
to start a trend.
If you listen to violin on it, it's just the instruments jump out of the horn. They just seem to jump out of the speaker, much more than it would be with two speakers playing mono. I think anyway.
I agree. I'm not a mono guy, but I agree. And your amp is a Pass Labs. What's the model?
It's a 150.8.
Okay, that's a new edition, right?
Yes.
You haven't gotten that one very long. And then there's a lot here to cover, but we're going to get to it. So starting here.
Oh, this is a Meridian CD player. It's old school, red book. It's very efficient. Some people would think that I am a dinosaur, but it's not. I actually have a Meridian 207 Pro, which Peter Letterman is working on. And I also have the Meridian mono amps, so I want to keep that as a set. It's just a matter of nostalgia, I guess.
Oh, and then we missed it's a CJ?
It's a Rogue.
A Rogue, I'm sorry.
Rogue Atlas Magnum 2. KT 120s.
And this one? This is the Jagersol.
That's the unpronounceable shit.
Shit? Jagersol.
Yes. This is a computer by Small Green Computer, is the name of the company. And it's just an i7 computer, so I can use Roon.
Then the Techniques.
Yep.
Which Techniques?
SL1200 Mark II.
Okay. What do you research?
How to research LS16. And that's a Air.
Yeah.
That's a DSD converter, which just got replaced by the shit. So I'm sort of evaluating both.
Okay. And then the Harman.
My little Harman Kardon tube amp for the mono speaker.
That makes sense. The gyro?
Yeah,
Gyro
that's
deck?
the Mitchell gyro deck with the SME Type 5 arm and a Miyajima Saboten Cactus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then
This is a PS Audio Stellar phono preamp, but I haven't had a chance to evaluate it yet. I just got it today, so I'll be listening to it sometime. And then this is a Tascam 3000 recorder, which I use for some other projects to record live or record. I can back up records with this, record up to DSD if I want, or 24 192. And this, a friend of mine gave me this. This is a Nakamichi tape deck and a Sony DAT. But honestly, I haven't really used them. I don't have much use for, even though I love analog. I don't know if there's a reason to use cassette anymore, except for those who saw the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, which has
of course.
completely spin off the the cassette movement again. Apparently, people are buying cassettes now.
And then the sub.
Yeah, well, this is a sore subject because I'm using sort of a home theater sub, although it's a great sub.
What brand is it?
For quads, SVS.
That's a good sub.
Yeah, it's very good. When my daughter wants to listen to all that fun stuff, then I turn it on, and so she doesn't destroy my speaker.
There you go.
Well, she's never unsupervised here, but
That's
by the way,
smart.
she has her own turntable in her room.
All right.
So, and she's 10 years old. So
Start early.
yes, yeah, it's hard to believe. There was a time when I quit vinyl.
But you gave me this line about your cartridge collection. What was it? How did you describe it?
Well, you know, cartridge is like jewelry for man, and also they're very small, so you can hide them in the drawers, and your wife will never see them.
So you can buy hi-fi that's kind of expensive, and she'll never know.
Yeah, yeah. You want to see some?
Yeah, show me some.
These are, some of them are vintage, other ones are more modern.
Okay.
For example, a lot of people recognize this. It's a Empire.
Oh yeah, I had those.
Yeah.
Years ago, right.
I think it's a 2000 or Type 3.
Don't move so much. Okay.
ADC. Here we have Pickerings.
Wow.
This one is a modern Audio-Technica 33V. Also, this is a modern 440 A. And many people recognize the HANA SL.
Yeah, that's a great one.
But this one, the Nagatron 360 CE, which has a carbon fiber cantilever. So those of us who are also interested in technology will get some of these cartridges because of the technology. I mean, why can't you have a beryllium cantilever or a carbon fiber cantilever? Who knows? Maybe it doesn't sound better, but it sounds cool, right? And you can have it in your fist. If somebody asks you, "What do you have in your hands?" and you just hide it behind you, you have a cartridge in there. This is a particular one, and I'm not sponsoring any products, but the LP Gear 323. It's a mystery where this really comes from, but it's a beautiful high output moving coil, very sweet sounding, and it's not expensive. And then quickly here,
there's more.
Yeah, these are the usual Denon 103, and I have a Denon head shell.
Okay.
These are very interesting because these have quite a history. The AKGs.
Okay.
AKG, which you know from the microphone and the headphone brand.
Right.
The AKGs in Vienna made. And these are beautiful sounding cartridges. They're hard to find, and most of the time they're a little bit low rider because the suspension gets dry. Here's another AKG. These are different models. One is the has an S denomination.
Okay.
But they're very nice to look at.
Okay.
And beautiful sounding. These are moving magnet, by the way. These Nagatrons was like the other one that had the carbon fiber cantilever. It's also a Nagatron. This was the entry level. Many people find similarities between these and the Naga Okas, which I guess is not really a stretch, right?
Right.
It sounds very similar, the name. This is a static MF100, which also was sold under a different brand. Maybe your viewers would know. The Statics, I think they're also Japanese, but they sold under an American brand. Beautiful sounding, also moving magnet. Here is a predecessor of the AT33. I think this is the AT32, Audio-Technica moving coil. And this one has a beryllium cantilever.
But meanwhile, you play all of these on the Technics turntable?
Yes, I use the Technics SL1200, so I can, certain kinds of music are definitely purpose, made for certain kind of sounds that you want to extract from the cartridge. If a cartridge doesn't track well with a highly cut piano recording, then maybe you have another profile of a stylus. If a record from a rock from the 80s sounds too bright, maybe you can warm it up with the Nagatrons, which are actually moving iron or moving permalloy. So it's good to have. Of course, I hope I can get some Grados and some other brands. I know that my neighbors here at Soundsmith, I am dying to try some Peter's Soundsmith cartridges. Right now I have installed on the Technics is a mono cartridge from Audio-Technica, very inexpensive, and I use it for my mono setup, which is just simply a cartridge, a very old Harman Kardon tube amp from the 50s, and then one Klipsch La Scala.
Right, that's your mono.
And I believe you heard it.
Yes.
The setup.
So, how did you get this way? Why are you an audiophile?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I inherited a bunch of stereo review magazines from a friend, and I would just gobble those up, just go over and over and look at all the commercials and like all these photos of exotic Japanese speakers, It's mostly mid-fi stuff, but it's just, I found it fascinating. And my dad had an on-cue system, which was okay, middle of the road, but I always try to improve things because I read that if you move the speakers here and there, or I got a mat for the turntable from J&R, I order it, through catalog, or I got a Grado cartridge for his turntable. I try to tweak everything I could, and my father had a friend who had Altex, big ones, with phase linear amplifiers and DBX things that had lights everywhere. Was it DBX noise suppressors or compressors? Anyway, we had friends that were audiophiles, and I always enjoyed it. And so since I'm a teenager, and they're just spending all the money on hi-fi.
It's funny how,
yeah,
some people, they're in it and then they get out of it, and some people, it just stays with them their whole life. And
Yeah, well, I've played in different orchestras from South Africa, Spain, Mexico, so I've had equipment on and off, or I have to store it, or I have to change it to something that's more movable. But yeah,
that's nice.
Now I'm a little more settled, and we bought a house 3 years ago. And after hearing David Chesky's quads, I thought I gotta get my quads for the basement. So that's.
You think it'll be your last speaker?
I keep saying I want to be buried with these speakers, but
that's definitely your
who
last
knows?
speaker.
You keep talking about this.
That's gonna be a very large coffin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe they can do a sandwich or something.
Yeah.
Wrap around.
Yeah, I like that.
But you keep talking about all these horn speakers, like,
yes,
or even the Magnepans, which I haven't really heard very much.
Yeah,
so.
that could be in your future. Yeah.
I don't know. Don't tell my wife. We'll keep the cartridges.
Okay. Oh, before we go, so you started your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, I did. It's actually a YouTube channel in Spanish. It's called The Audiophilos y Locos. And it's sort of telling the story of a musician who has fallen to a deep neurosis of audiophilia nervosa. And so because I work in the Met, I'm interviewing a lot of stars, and then I'll ask them simple questions that we would like to know. Not the usual silly questions that they get, other silly questions. Like, what did you listen to at home when you were a kid? Do you have a stereo now? So please check it out. I already interviewed Sir Simon Rattle and the great soprano Joyce DiDonato. Now, because of my work, it's going to take me a while to get them out, but I already have 10 videos.
Yeah.
If you speak Spanish, I hope you enjoy them. If you don't, you can skip around because I also do some audio demonstrations from the pit. For example, you can hear the orchestra binaurally.
Wow.
So with headphones, you can check it out if you want.
That'd be fantastic.
And spread it around.
I will link to it.
Yes, and please share and subscribe. Even if you don't speak Spanish, just subscribe.
Yes, just subscribe. Yeah, every subscription is precious.
Yes.
All right, my name's Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show, coming to you from Pedro's listening room. And thanks, Pedro. See you again real soon.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Sure. Bye-bye.